It's time to head back to the old world and look at one of the cutest little guys in this setting. That's right, the Squigs. So let's look at the Squig Herds, starting off in good old 4th edition. And well, to even take one unit of them, you needed a unit of Night Goblins in your army. Also, you can only have one unit of them as they're a 0-1 choice, and they have to contain at least 5 models. These were a Squig Hunter team of 2 Night Goblins and 3 Squigs. The Goblins were 8 points, and then the Squigs 20 points each. Stat line wise, Night Goblins are Movement 4, Weapon Skill 2, Weapon Skill 3, not that matters, but it's there, Strength 3, Toughness 3, Wounds 1, Initiative 2, Attacks 1, Leadership 5, and the Squigs, Movement 2d6, Weapon Skill 4, Weapon Skill 0, Strength 5, Toughness 3, Wounds 1, Initiative 5, Attacks 2, Leadership 2. The Night Goblins come with prodders, and the Squigs, nasty big pointy teeth. Now, they have a few special rules due to being a mixed unit. The other one being that they are Night Goblins there, so animosity is still a thing. So there is a chance they could end up squabbling or charging a friend or foe. Hopefully the foe. Now, the entire unit moves at the Goblin speed of 4, as the Squigs are being controlled by the Goblins. They are deployed in 2 ranks, Squigs in the front, Goblins in the back. Now, Squigs will attack any models they're in base contact with, bar the Goblins because of the prodders, while the Goblins go attack from the back rank with the prodder, which does give them +1 strength due to its size. Still, when being shot at, you roll a d6. On a 1 to 3, you hit the Squigs, 4 to 5 a Goblin, and 6 you roll again. It does feel a bit odd to have that result, as later on it'll just always be 1 to 4 Squigs, 5 to 6 Goblins, obviously something they were still experimenting with back then. Now, they can actually be joined by characters, and if a character joins them, they can use their leadership. Yay! Just keep in mind the Squigs will attack anything in base contact who hasn't got a prodder. That includes the character, so best behind to put them behind the Goblins. Now, the Squigs also cause fear, but now we get to the fun bit, shall we say. So, each Goblin herder controls 3 Squigs. As each herder consists of 2 Goblins, if one is slain, the other Goblin keeps working and is able to control the Squigs, but does lose the strength bonus due to struggling with the prodder now. However, if the amount of Goblins trying to control them gets too low, the Squigs go wild. So let's say you had 5 herders and 15 Squigs. That's fine. But if that goes down to 4 herders at the start of your turn, yeah, they're going wild. So from this point on, the herders are killed as the Squigs overwhelm them, and then the Squigs go off independently. So, each Squig will roll 2d6 and go in a random direction each turn, and fight whatever they hit counting as charging. Enemy, or your own forces. They'll then fight to the death, and will pursue broken enemies. If they succeed, they will then move randomly again until dead or the game ends. Also, while in this state, they become immune to psychology and can't be broken. They can still be charged and shot at by the enemy with no changes. So yeah, this Squigs could do some damage in combat being strength 5 and 2 attacks, but yeah, when they went nuts and could have some interesting results. Still, off to 6th edition we go, as the Orcs and Goblins didn't have a 5th edition army book. Hello models, they basically have now. I like them, especially the Squig Herders. So, special choice, still 0 to 1, and now it's 2 points per Night Goblin and 14 points per Squig. Stat-wise, the Goblins gained an initiative, and the Squigs gained a leadership from 4th. Yay! The Squigs have, however, gone down to initiative 3. Aww. Unit size, minimum of 10, combining everything. The Goblins have a hand weapon, which can be a prodder, bagpipes, drum, firebrand, whip, cymbals, pitchfork, or some other usual Squig herding artifact as the book puts it. And yeah, you can definitely see some examples there. I quite like the snotling attached to a spear, that one's kind of my favourite. Also, Squig hoppers are now part of the unit, not separate like they were in 4th, and they would be in the future. We'll cover Squig hoppers in their own video when we ever get to that. So, special rules. Well, they got animosity still. Ranking them is still the same. The Squigs always up front, but they can be in multiple ranks now, and the Goblins are always in the back. They use the Night Goblin's leadership for tests, and the unit moves, and the Night Goblins move to 4 still. Now, they fear elves and hate dwarfs. Now, the book is interesting as it says shooting is randomized, though it says just to do it as appropriate. So yeah, 1 to 4 squigs, 5 to 6 goblins. Now, loose squigs. So this replaces squigs gone wild, but it happens in a similar way. If at the start of the goblin player's turn, the squigs outnumber the herders, which each herder is able to maintain 3 squigs as usual, or they are beaten in combat and flee. So once they become loose, there is a slight change. The goblins still go splat, but the squigs now bounce 2d6 inches in a random direction. If they land on the unit, they will do a free attack and then bounce off again until they land elsewhere, and as usual, they are doing this independently. There is an exception to this. If any squig rolls a double, they get so excited they explode with a loud bang. The models just remove that, but yeah, that can happen. Now, if they are charged, they're just destroyed, the squig is removed. However, shooting, still need to roll to hit and wound like normal. And yeah, they're still immune to psychology and panic when loose again. So yeah, at their core, still the same idea, just a bit more comical when they become loose now, with their bouncing and exploding. Next, we're off to 7th. There's still a special choice, but no longer 0 to 1. You can have multiple units now if you want. They also cost 30 points for a group now, and each group is 2 goblins and 3 squigs. And of course, you can buy multiple. The stat line wise, it's not changed, and the goblins still have hand weapons. The special rules though, this has been streamlined. Obviously, still have animosity. They hate dwarves still, and the unit itself is now just immune to psychology. Now, when being targeted by impact hits and missiles, it's still random, 1 to 4 on the squigs and 5 to 6 the goblins, and no characters can join them. Now then, when the unit flees, all the goblins are dead, at the start of the turn, the squigs go wild. The unit is now just removed from the table. However, all units, friends or foe, within 2d6 inches of the unit, take d6 strength 5 hits as the squigs run through them. So yeah, the rules got simplified a lot, and in some ways the squigs wandering around was fun, but now the exploding potential squig ball, as I like to call it. Yeah, that's kind of funny if you can get a go off in the middle of the enemy lines and just cause a shit ton of damage with them. Still, off to 8th edition, and again, not much has changed bar a few things. First, building unit again is different. It's now 3 points per goblin, and you must have 1 goblin for every 3 squigs, who are 8 points. Stat line's not changed. Special rules? So, still got animosity, still hate dwarves, still immune to psychology, and the hits from shooting impact hits are still the same. They have, however, gained the obnoxious rule, which is just the not being allowed characters being moved to its own rule. Squigs Go Wild functions the same as 7th, but it's actually become somewhat stronger. So, it's still the d6 hits, however, for every 5 squigs remaining when they go wild, it gets +1. So if there were 15 left, they would be d6 plus 3. So yeah, the squig bomb got a little buff, and that was really it for 8th. So, now we arrive at the old world. And yeah, look, here's the Age of Sigmar middies. I love the one that's eating the goblin. So, how are they faring nowadays? So, squig holders are now 3 points, and you need 1 for every 5 squigs. And statline wise, they've actually gained leadership, they're slightly braver. The squigs meanwhile are 10 points, and gain initiative going to 4 now, so buffs for both of them. Equipment wise, the goblins can now have thrusting spears for 1 point, and the squig's teeth is actually a weapon. Huge Gob is strength 5, EP -1, armor bane 1. Yeah, functions the same really, I just like the fact it's an actual weapon profile now. So, what have they got for special rules now then? Well, they still hate dwarfs, they're immune to psychology, obviously being greenskins they're impetuous, they're loners, have open order, they are skirmishers now, and warband is also their other general one. And of course, squigs go wild! So this functions the same as 8th, but it only happens if they break and flee from combat now, And while it's still a 2d6 inch radius with +1 bonus every 5 squigs, it is now only D3 strength 5 hits base, so it is a bit of a nerf there. And yeah, that's kind of how to describe them now. They've got some minor buffs, but Squig Wild got nerfed. Which I kind of see why, as someone who uses them, if you could get a decent number of them into the enemy ranks when that went off with a good roll, you could cause so much damage. But yes, with that is where the Squigs are right now. Honestly, they've been pretty consistent. The main variety is just what happens when they lose control being the main change. Other than that, their teeth with legs are good at nomming. And aren't they just cute? Ah.